Today we're going to take a look at what seems to be Africa's most ambitious forward-looking airline by a long shot. Welcome to Cairo. I arrived yesterday on an Egypt Air flight from Kuwait and stayed at the Le Méridien on site, which again, I can't praise highly enough. They have scheduled shuttles to take you to Terminal 2 and 1, which they're not connected to. I inadvertently missed the shuttle by like a minute. The next one would be there in 10 or 15 minutes. Absolutely no problem. They gave me a car instead. After that very quick ride, here we are at Terminal 2, which was closed in 2010 for a full 3-year renovation. And when I tell you this place is much nicer than the experience at Egypt Air's Terminal 3, that is not an overstatement. Oh, and by the way, today we're flying Royal Air Maroc to Marrakech via Casablanca. Probably useful to mention that. Before we get into everything though, let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best, and some of the not so best, airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full-time for the past 4 years. Check out my hundreds of videos, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to learn more about how I do things. This pleasantly uncomfortable journey begins now. Terminal 2 is a bit of an odd layout. You get dropped off on the left, check in what I assume is the newer part of the building, and then go upstairs and head across the street to the terminal building itself. Check-in was very easy and quick, with little more than a couple of smiles and a "have a nice flight." As we head to the departures hall, let me just mention one odd quirk of security here. They stopped every male passenger and took the heads of our razors. Not a huge problem, but not something that I've seen before anywhere, including here in Cairo on previous occasions. The departures hall has a few lounges on offer. Oddly enough, there's an Egypt Air lounge which is a little bit unsure of its identity. Odd, since I thought all of their flights were out of Terminal 3. Either way, we're heading to the very pleasant Ahlein lounge, which was included with my business class ticket. It's hard for me to look at this lounge and not just laugh a little bit to myself, because it just feels like we're in a completely different world from the other lounges that I visited in Cairo. Whatever they're doing in this lounge needs to be duplicated across the airport. So, Royal Air Maroc is a government-owned carrier which first was founded in 1953, beginning services 4 years later. By the 1960s, they were a semi-prominent regional carrier connecting North and West Africa to France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Switzerland. The biggest 3 changes for the airline over the years, though, were much more recent. First of all was a big shift on their outlook and how they schedule in the early 2000s, to try to create Casablanca as a transit hub, in addition to serving expat and tourism markets. In 2020, they joined the One World Alliance, and honestly, after that point, is when things have really gotten interesting. So in 2030, the World Cup will be hosted jointly by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. And in preparation for that, the government is expanding the airport in Casablanca to a capacity of 35 million passengers per year, up from its current 14 million. But that's not even scratching the surface. In 2023, the airline announced a wild expansion plan to double the size of its fleet within 10 years. Right now, they have 50 aircraft. But then just 5 months after that, they literally doubled down on the double down and announced that they'd increase their fleet to 200 aircraft by 2037. So needless to say, there's a lot of growth and change coming for Royal Air Maroc and Morocco at large. I don't think I know of any other airline that is truly planning to quadruple its fleet within 10 years. These days, Royal Air Maroc has a Northwest African and Eurocentric network with a few connections to the Middle East, North America, Asia, and even Sao Paulo. As you'd imagine, they have a large presence in France and most Francophone countries. Okay, so let's get on board. Boarding was a bit haphazard, but at least it was on time. I was greeted as I stepped on board and settled into what turned out to be the most uncomfortable seat in this configuration that I've ever been in. It reminded me of the first class seats on Eurostar. The upper part of the seat back is angled back so far that it's just really uncomfortable. My notes were, quote, "Supremely uncomfortable seat, very short and shallow cushion, and very intrusive lumbar makes the headrest too far away." If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you can do so. A quick like on the video and subscription helps the videos with the algorithm. You could join my YouTube channel memberships to get early access to some videos and access to all of my community posts. Or you could check out my Patreon where I post the most and can help you out with any travel related questions. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. Besides the comfort or lack thereof, it's a pretty standard seat, but lacks any sort of modern amenities such as outlets, in-flight entertainment, and the like. This flight is kinda a heck of a lot longer than I would have guessed before I booked this flight. First, I think the span of North Africa is simply much wider than we, or at least I, imagine. But then also the entirety of the flight is over the Mediterranean and Spain of all things, to avoid Algerian airspace. In total, it's around 5.5 hours. That's the same flight time as flying from Seattle to Miami, or as I recently did, from London to Kuwait. Pre-departure drinks, which were water or lemon juice, were passed around. The safety briefing began and we got on our way. Passed by some very sad and dusty Embraers on the way to the runway. Service sprung into action as we passed over Alexandria. The breakfast service was just about as dry as the human service. The crew were simply stone-faced for the entirety of the flight, quickly getting through the service and then retreating for the rest of the flight. Not once did they pass through to check for drinks or anything else for the rest of the flight. For the food itself, the breads were okay, the fruit was okay, but that omelet was the worst of why eggs on planes suck. The perfect comparison is that it had the exact same texture of a McDonald's folded egg patty. Bathrooms were clean on a basic level, but were rarely checked by crew throughout the flight. The highlight of the flight, easily for me, were the views that are about to come up, as we passed over Spain and Gibraltar. Once we were back over Africa, we followed the coast southwards and soon found ourselves in a final descent. A gorgeous day here in Casablanca, we boarded a dedicated business class van that took us to the international terminal. From there, I had a really long walk to make my way over to the very small domestic terminal. I was kind of confused by the transit process. There were transit immigration desks, but they weren't staffed. I kind of just stood there for a little bit on my own, and then tried to peek my head through. I saw a security guard and asked if I was meant to pass, and he said yes. He checked my boarding pass and allowed me into the domestic terminal. Something I have never seen before, and for the life of me cannot figure out, is why our wholly domestic flight from Casablanca to Marrakech, every single passenger on it, whether connecting or originating in Casablanca, needed to pass through immigration in Marrakech. If anyone knows why this is, I'd be very curious to know, especially since it was one of the slowest immigration lines that I've seen in quite a while, considering all the domestic passengers were in it as well. Royal Air Maroc has a very small lounge here, and soon enough, boarding was called for our flight. This would be on an ATR 72 turboprop, which is just a strange experience in business class. For ATRs, you board in the back of the plane, but the business class seats are still in the first couple of rows. Granted, they're the exact same seats, but there's a curtain and everything in between you and the economy cabin. ATRs are just my least favorite aircraft to fly, because they're never comfortable, but at least the flights are always short. Bulkhead seats had decent legroom though. In the air, business class was served a few cookies and a soft drink service, landing in Marrakech soon after. So, given the mediocre food, the mediocre service on the first flight, and the uncomfortable seat with no features, I can't think of a reason to rank them above a 4 for now. So, I really do hope that you enjoyed this trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on my twice weekly videos. I'll see you next time from the sublime Datai Langkawi. As always, thanks for watching until the end.